G'day guys, your old pal Nick here from the Bulldog Fanatic YouTube channel, and in today's video we are reviewing the Western Bulldogs round 21 loss to the top of the table Fremantle Dockers by 37 points. Let's get into it. So the Dockers won 11-12-78 to the Bulldogs 5-11-41 in what was a truly dogshit game of footy. It was really ugly to us, a defensive struggle, especially in those first 3 quarters until Freo broke the game open in the last quarter. It was just not a fun watch, and the Dogs tried to take it up to the top team, but ultimately Freo were just too good in the end, too classy, and showed why they're the flag favourites and why they're the best team in the comp this year. So yeah, it wasn't a pretty viewing. The goal kickers for the Dogs, there weren't many, 2 to Cooper Hines, and 1 goal each to Rory Lobb, Riley West, and Riley Sanders. So yeah, it was our lowest score for the year as well. The lowest amount of goals we kicked and our lowest score for the year. So fair play to Dockers. I mean, they are the number 1 defensive team in the comp for a reason. And with no Aaron Norton, no Cody Waitman, it was always going to be a struggle to score. And my God, did it show. So yeah, not a pretty night, really. The Bulldogs, well, what I saw anyway, had a very defensive first game plan where we would flood the numbers back in Freo's forward line and play like an 18-man defense. And it held up actually okay in the first 2.5 quarters. But that wasn't by design, says Bevo after the press conference. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that. So it's just like, it was, I wouldn't say it was out of necessity or anything, but it was just like we got pressured so much and we were losing contest in that first quarter and losing territory that we just happened to play very defensive from that point onward throughout the game, where we would just flood the numbers back and protect our defensive 50. But ultimately it broke open in the end in the second half. Freo managed to move the ball quicker in the second half, managed to win more clearances, and managed to isolate their forwards with our defenders. And when the opposition isolate their key forwards against our key defenders, that's not usually great for us, considering we're one of the worst defensive teams when it comes to one-on-ones. So yeah, Freo managed to break through in the end of a very defensive heavy game plan that wasn't by design and just happened to happen throughout the game. Yes, I know we only kicked 5 goals, but my God, we had chances. We butchered so many set shots again. We just couldn't kick the set shots, the important ones, which was really unfortunate. And also, we just stuffed up quite a few times going inside 50. Considering we flooded so many of our numbers back, it was hard to move the ball because we had so many numbers up the ground, so we couldn't transfer the ball super quickly. But there was one passage in the third quarter where we were only down by a few points, and we actually managed to transfer the ball very well from Freo's forward line, our back half, into our forward line, but we stuffed it up. So we won the ball of a turnover, pretty much, centre half forward for Freo. We moved the ball a little bit by handballs. It wasn't pretty, but we still kept the ball. We were patient, very patient, kicking through the middle of the ground. We waited for the numbers to get back. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Riley Sanders or Lockie Bramble. Hit up Rory Lobb in the forward pocket. I don't know, about 35, 40 metres out. On a bit of an angle, but it wasn't not the hardest shot ever. And there were still players open in our forward line. Rory Lobb decides to square it up to Ed Richards. I like the intention. Execution was poor, went over his head. Now, I think Latham Vandermeer, who was in the vicinity, who, by the way, did not play well in his return, Latham Vandermeer, but he was in the vicinity, and I think he called out Ed saying, "I'm going to take it." I reckon that's what happened, and that's why Ed didn't go for the mark. And, well, Latham Vandermeer didn't take the mark. The ball fell to ground, and we turned it over, and bang, quick transfer from one end to the ground to the other from the Dockers, and they kick it off for Josh Tracy. That just summed up the night right there. Oh, that still demoralizes me because we could have hit the lead, man. We could have got the first goal of the third quarter. But no, Freo went down the other end, and they got the first goal of the third quarter. So, yeah, that pretty much summed up the night right there in terms of the way we were moving the ball and how we stuffed up chances for goal. It's just another grind where I have to watch the Bulldogs just struggle, man. Just without Bailey Dale and Connor Butterick, we were just bombing the ball forward, just out of the 50, and just like there was no handball, there was barely any handball overlaps or anything. Lockie Bramble tried to create a few, chains through handball and whatnot a few times, but just didn't work, and we really struggled to get out of the fence once again. The pressure from the Dockers was enormous, especially after half time, and just they set up so well defensively against our lackluster forward line. So it was just, it was Friday night really showed that we really missed Bailey Dale and Connor Butterick with their run and carry off halfback and their very good ball use. Yeah, it really did show against the best team in the comp. And with no Aaron Norton down there in the forward line, we couldn't. It was hard, to take marks and create contests, because frankly, Rory Love and Jordan Croft, two key forwards, weren't really doing that much. They didn't win many contests or even many contests. Against the Freo backmen, and Oscar McDonald had an absolute field day, getting 21 disposals and a bunch of coaches' votes. So it's just not having Aaron Norton and not having Bailey Dale particularly really hurt us on Friday night. It was pretty obvious. I thought our pressure was actually really decent. I thought the defenders also held up really well. I thought effort-wise it was fantastic for a lot of the game, but just execution of skills and was just horrific, especially after half-time, man. Just decision-making is just so appalling sometimes from particularly our bottom six players. Like Lapen Vandermeer had an absolute stinker. Pretty much everything he did was bad, unfortunately. Sam Davidson, his ball use wasn't good. Like Louis Emmett, he's played 6 games. We've lost all 6 times he's played. And he only had, 2 disposals. And I get it, he's a 19-year-old key position player. But just, again, it just shows that he's not ready for AFL again Friday night. It felt very unfair to play him against a top-of-the-table Dockers. I would have played like a Lockie Jakes or an Oscar Baker. Not a key position player, but just someone that's probably more ready to play in a game like that, personally. So, yeah, that's what happens. Just, Freo had players that were very good right across the board. I can't say that for us. I think the Bulldogs, when it comes to player ratings-wise, had the bottom 4 or 5 players. So that really showed the lack of depth on Friday night. Really came through again. I want to shout out these 2 youngsters from the 2024 draft because they were fantastic. 2 of our better players, and they are Cooper Hines and Josh Donald. Let's start with Cooper Hines. Cooper Hines has been playing wing for a lot of this year, and it was probably the best game of his career. He had 22 disposals. He kicked 2 of our 5 goals, both from set shots. And he was just getting in really good positions and using the footy quite well. He was actually quite composed, which was really nice to see. So, yeah, I'm glad he can able to hit the scoreboard as well and, be what a wingman does, and that is get forward of the ball when your team has the ball and get back in defence when your team doesn't have the ball. He was playing the wing role actually quite well. I'm really happy with Cooper Hines, and he's steadily improved every week he's played, it seems like, this year. The progression is really nice for Cooper Hines. In terms of Josh Dolan, he's also played a similar amount of games to Cooper Hines, both from the 2024 draft for us. And I thought he was really good. He didn't kick a goal, but he was part of quite a few scoring chains for us, which weren't many. But yeah, he was clean at ground level, and he used the ball quite well by foot. And I just like his endeavour. And he just always seems to make the right decisions, whether it's by hand or by foot. So it was really nice to see Cooper Hines and Josh Dolan play really well in what was not a great night for a lot of other blokes. I don't like doing this, but I have to call out the skipper, Marcus Bonapelli. He did not play well. That was probably the worst game Bon has played all year. Now, his numbers look okay, but it's just the impact. The impact just wasn't there, especially after half-time. I think he only had, 5 disposals after half-time. And he turned the ball over quite a bit. He looked slow at contests. I think Hayden Young was doing a soft tag on him at stoppage. And Hayden Young kind of cooked him, at a lot of stoppages, especially after half-time. Just Bont looked really slow, from going from contest to contest, and he looked exhausted, It just woke me up thinking that this man is 30 years old. I'm not saying he's washed or anything, but, back-to-back 6-day breaks aren't doing this man a great favour. So, yeah, we've had to rely on Bont so much to get us out of trouble, and Friday night just wasn't those nights for Bont. I did some nice things, laid a couple of nice tackles, and had the second most score involvements for us. But still, just the impact just wasn't there. And, he only had a couple of clearances as well, and that's where Bond has his most damage, in my opinion, at stoppage, and just wasn't there. Freo Mids did a really good job of holding him accountable. I just think, he's 30 years old, and back-to-back 6-day breaks. We can't just keep relying on him every week to get us out of trouble. And yeah, just wasn't the best game from Bont. Friday night made me realise that we are nowhere near a premiership. I mean, I knew that anyway, but it just really woke me up. Like, offensively, we've got barely any weapons at this point, and unfortunately, that's probably the weakest forward line the Dogs have put out in years, and it really showed that without Aaron Norton, man, we do struggle to score. We lack that big key forward presence, despite having Jordan Croft and Rory Lobb play down there. There's no scare factor with them. Like Freo didn't fear them, like an Aaron Norton would. So it's terrifying how bad we are forward the ball without Aaron Norton and Cody Waitman to a lesser extent. But I just hope they play Aaron Norton and Cody Waitman this Thursday night against North, because if they're in play, I don't know if we win. I know North's defense is nowhere near as good as Freo's, but still, I think they could do a good job on Rory Lobb and Jordan Croft. But you never know. I just hope Aaron Norton plays. He was managed, but apparently he's got soreness of some sorts, which I don't know of. But I pray he plays on Thursday night against the Kangaroos. Final thoughts on the game? Well, glad it was over. I mean, I didn't really feel much after the game because I knew we were going to lose. But it was just so ugly to watch, and just we're not an attractive side to watch at the moment. It feels like a chore watching us sometimes. I'll still watch us, and I still love the team, but no, it's not fun to watch them at the moment. But anyways, another 6-day break, back at Marvel against North Melbourne, who want to get a scalp of some sorts to end their season. And we still need one more win to cement our spot for wildcard. And I think this game on Thursday night, out of this, Carlton and the D's at the G, our final 3 games, this is the most likely. But I'm not feeling super confident the way we're playing, and if Aaron Norton and Cody Waitman don't play, my confidence will be quite low. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoy the review. A preview for the North game will be out on Thursday. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoy the vid. Subscribe for more Bulldogs content as we get closer to September. And anyways, guys, hope you enjoy the vid. Go you mighty Bulldogs. See you next time.